This is News 8 Now, this morning.
I haven't even lived there for a year, but 2 people have died, like brutal deaths, and now this person got shot. It just seems like a lot for a small town.
We need to address race and racism and we need to address economic issues and poverty and unemployment. These are issues that are still with us today.
The work in our district is never done, and although my title is equity coordinator, it's really everyone's job to ensure equity for all students.
85% of everything grown here is actually exported to Asian countries, and that kind of just goes to show you how valued it is across the entire world.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for watching News 8 Now. I'm Dua Shride, that's Derek Sibley. Thanks for joining us today. It's Tuesday, January 17th. And Derek, we're going to start off with weather. How's our day looking? It was a little misty on my drive over this morning.
Yeah, I ran into some of that too, Dua. In fact, a lot of that is associated with what is coming in from the northwest. We got a couple of batches of some rain and snow that continue to track their way across the area. Live look behind me from City Cam 8. Yeah, you can see it's a bit misty here, as Dua was saying. In fact, a lot of that here being picked up on the tower cam lenses, kind of condensing into a little bit of some rain droplets now here too on the lenses. We are looking at some of that rain and snow moving in from the northwest, but specifically this is kind of focused central and towards the east. You can see areas like Black River Falls and Jackson County southward into Toma, to Monroe, and also into Viroqua, into Vernon County here too. Again, moving its way towards the east here this morning. In the meantime, our current temperatures are into the low to mid 30s, 34 degrees right now in La Crosse. We got wind chill values nearing the same temperatures, but it does feel pretty cold though to the north when you factor in feel-like temperature values into the upper 20s this morning across Eau Claire. All right, so for your planner, we are expecting some of that rain, snow through at least the early morning hours, and the rest of the day will feature mainly cloudy skies, and we will be looking at some pretty mild conditions yet again with temperatures into the mid-30s here this afternoon. But stay tuned though, because coming up in a bit, Dua, we're going to take a look at your full weather forecast with some of those snow chances that are on the way.
All right, thanks, Derek. We'll check in with you later. A suspect is behind bars in Chippewa County facing an attempted homicide charge. Neighbors say violent crimes like this one are concerning. News 8 Now's Emily Haugen spoke with a witness who lives just 2 doors down.
The suspect is in custody, and police say the victim and the suspect knew each other. Shots were fired in Chippewa Falls late Saturday night on Bay Street, just near downtown.
I got a text from my neighbor asking me if I was home, so he told me to look outside my window.
Police say just after 8 that night, officers responded to a report from a woman who said she'd been shot. She was transported by EMS because of her injuries. Within 2 hours, officers identified, located, and took the suspect into custody.
So I was on my balcony watching this all happen.
Alexandra Fisher watched the investigation unfold.
I saw an officer run out of the house and into his car, and then 2 more officers run out of the house into their cars, and everybody drove away following the one car down the road. And then I could see the police lights all the way up off into the distance.
Fisher says she doesn't know the people involved. She says this shooting and other recent violent crimes are worrisome.
I haven't even lived there for a year, but 2 people have died, like brutal deaths, and now this person got shot. It just seems like a lot for a small town.
Police are calling it an attempted homicide. Police say the weapon used in the incident was found. There is no danger to the public at this time. Back to you.
Thanks, Emily. Chippewa Falls Police tells News 8 Now that the investigation is ongoing and they will share an update as soon as they can, so stay tuned right here on News 8000. The Chinese New Year is China's most important festival, and a Wisconsin crop plays a major role in its celebration. We're talking about the plant root ginseng. It's known to help boost energy and support a healthy immune system. It's a very popular gift in Asian cultures because it's considered a gift of good health. Wisconsin grows about 95% of the United States' entire ginseng crop, and most of it ends up across the globe.
85% of everything grown here is actually exported to Asian countries, and that kind of just goes to show you how valued it is across the entire world.
Growing ginseng is no easy task. It takes about 5 to 6 years and it can never be grown in the same soil more than once. You've probably had ginseng as a dietary supplement or in your tea. It also comes in candies, capsules, and powder. Schaefer today brought in chicken citrus salad that used ginseng powder in the dressing. So if you're looking for some inspiration for Chinese New Year this Sunday, we've got more information on news8000.com. Americans took a moment on Monday to celebrate the life and message of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at the Wisconsin Capitol. The longest-running state-led MLK event celebrated its 42nd year. Reporter Will Keneally takes us to the rotunda.
It's inspired by the dedication to give King's celebration a real Wisconsin feeling.
It's the 42nd year that Dr. Jonathan Overby has helped celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day at the Wisconsin Capitol. This year's theme, Let Justice Rule.
Well, the theme is based upon the idea that justice isn't just for a select group of people. It is for all of us. And it is more than just something about the law. It's really the way we should be living our lives, how we treat each other, our neighbors down the street, across the fence, kind of thing. And to engage in that civility of discourse and action that really speaks to what I think is important about the American spirit.
And it was an exciting day for Deion Johnson, too.
I had fun.
The Lincoln Elementary School student read off part of the I Have a Dream speech during the ceremony.
I was nervous and I was stuttering, but it was fun to say it.
And he was not the only student. Betty Emanuel brought her kids as well.
I loved it. I loved it. And then the good thing is, as soon as I got here and got up the stairs, I got to get a picture with the girls from the dancing. I'm like, I want to go. So it was in the middle of their performance, and I went.
And for those watching at home, Overby's message is this.
Is that we treat each other well and with grace and dignity and respect.
Back in La Crosse, people packed the Viterbo University Fine Arts Center to honor Dr. King and the people honoring his work. Guest speaker Andre Johnson is an associate professor at the University of Memphis and a pastor at an inner-city church built upon servant leadership. Johnson says it's important to celebrate Dr. King's life and to honor his legacy by working as a community to solve the issues many of us still face today.
We need to address race and racism and we need to address economic issues and poverty and unemployment. These are issues that are still with us today.
Viterbo's MLK celebration included music and poetry and honored a local adult and student working to eliminate the oppression of all people. Students, teachers, and community members in Onalaska also celebrated Dr. King and used his holiday as an opportunity to learn. The school district hosted 2 guest speakers from the Milwaukee area to share a new perspective on Dr. King's life. The district's equity coordinator says learning about diversity is important today and every other day of the year.
The work in our district is never done, and although my title is equity coordinator, it's really everyone's job to ensure equity for all students.
The speakers, who are a part of the Nurturing Diversity Partners group, focused on truth-telling and discussed how to answer Dr. King's call. While happening today, the WKK Kellogg Foundation will host its 7th annual National Day of Racial Healing. Leading the WKKF is President and CEO LaJune Montgomery. WKKF and Montgomery believe understanding racial healing will provide a path forward to achieve racial equality. This Day of Healing is an opportunity for all Americans to have conversations about racial healing. We'll have more information about that posted on our website. That's news8000.com. Gunderson Health System is also keeping the history of migrants in America alive. Starting today, you can visit an exhibit called Outside Inside Immigration, Migration, and Healthcare in the United States in La Crosse's hospital lobby. The exhibit will showcase the struggles migrants faced getting access to healthcare in the early 1900s and detail their triumphs in fighting for a system that met their needs. You can visit the exhibit until February 25th. Another event you can attend today, Coffee and Conversation. Mayo Clinic Health System is hosting a free forum to help get your family back on track. A registered dietitian will offer different ways to refresh your family's health habits and reshape perceptions that can lead to eating disorders. You can join virtually this evening from 6 to 7 p.m. Parents will be allowed to ask questions, and we'll also have a link to that event posted on our website at news8000.com. Still ahead on your morning news, vacuum company Bissell releases a recall. A non-alcoholic beverage shop celebrates its grand opening to celebrate Dry January. But we're going to start off by sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. It's National Popcorn Day, and on January 19th at Marcus Theaters in La Crosse is celebrating by giving guests a free 44-ounce treat, recognizing a treat that satisfies munchies day or night. You can celebrate the event by mixing candy in your popcorn with candies such as M&Ms, Reese's Pieces, or even Snow Caps. I do love a good bucket of popcorn. It's like the best movie snack. Anyway, don't go anywhere. More News 8 Now after this break.
Well, this morning we continue to watch some of that rain and snow move in across the Coulee region, and it's mainly focused now across our central zones in the vicinity of Black River Falls up there towards Jackson County, south into Monroe. So Toma, you're getting in some of that as well. Even as far south here as Vernon County, east of Viroqua, now starting to get it. Union Center here as well, moving into Adam and Juneau County currently too. Current temperature readings are into the low 30s. We got 34 in La Crosse now, but a little bit cooler further towards the east, where we're currently at 33 degrees now in Sparta. Let's get a check now on your zone forecast. Today in La Crosse County, our high temperatures will be a little bit mild, on the mild side, with highs into the mid-30s come this afternoon. Meanwhile, further south, we'll be looking at low to mid-30s today, with 37 in Stoddard there for you. And as we head back towards the north, our central zones mainly in the mid-30s, with 36 today in Trempealeau, and our highs will reach the mid-30s as well across our north zones, with 35 in Eau Claire. So yet another pretty mild day. Heading off to school this morning, watch out for some of that leftover rain, snow. Looking at cloudy skies for your lunch hour, and then after that, cloudy skies for the afternoon with temperatures at around 39. I'll be back with a check on the full weather forecast next in weather.
Bissell is recalling more than 60,000 of its cordless multi-surface wet-dry vacuums due to a fire hazard. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the battery pack can overheat and smoke, with 5 reports of fires that resulted 3 instances of minor property damage and 1 burn injury. Consumers are cautioned to stop using the recalled vacuums immediately and contact Bissell for a free battery pack replacement. Local health experts say a massive drop in cigarette sales is improving public health and lowering healthcare costs. According to a Wisconsin Policy Forum report, over the last 20 years, cigarette sales dropped from 420 million packs to less than 200 million. A Gunderson population health expert says the longer someone quits and stays off tobacco products, the greater their health improves.
Improved breathing, less of a risk over time for developing certain cancers or lung disease, cardiovascular disease. So you see all of those benefits in those areas.
If you want to quit smoking or using tobacco, Gunderson offers free support. Westville says you can also call the free Wisconsin Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Walgreens will no longer limit the online sales of children's fever medicine. Last month, Walgreens and other pharmacies restricted those purchases when demand stretched the supply thin. The CDC says cases of flu and RSV have peaked. Cases of COVID-19 are still on the rise. Walgreens has not limited in-person sales of pediatric fever medication. Well, with Dry January in full swing, a new bottle shop in Grand Rapids, Michigan is aimed at supporting a sober lifestyle. One of the owners say it may be the first of its kind in the Midwest. As Janice Allen reports, the store celebrated its grand opening last week.
Not drinking has become less of something that you have to explain.
It's the newest addition along Leonard in Grand Rapids. Old City NA Bottles and Beer filling a void by helping to fill glasses for those choosing not to drink alcohol. That means zero-proof cocktails.
Paloma, Margarita, Mimosa, like they're cocktails in a can. Some of them are meant to mimic actual cocktails.
Non-alcoholic beer and spirits and de-alcoholized wine.
We've got some of the few drier reds on the market.
Co-owner Neil DeMeester opening up the shop at a time when the Sober Curious movement, those choosing not to drink alcohol for whatever reason, is growing.
But during COVID, a lot of people realized that they don't want to consume as much and they want to be mindful about their choices. So it's a super inclusive movement.
Old City NA Bottles and Beer builds off a brand started by Demester's co-owners, Paul and Chad Clark, at the downtown market in Grand Rapids.
We've got the common thread that all three of us are sober.
The shop opened just before Thanksgiving, and Demester says so far customers have been pouring in.
Keeping product on the shelf has been the biggest challenge so far. We'll get product in, bottles in that are popular, and they'll sell out in a couple days. I thought it would take us a year to get to where we are in 2 months, sales-wise, so it's been absolutely overwhelming.
They're happy to stock a variety to support a sober lifestyle.
It can be really hard to find good options, especially out to eat or outside of just rolling the dice on Amazon and picking a bottle. So that's really where we fit in.
Demester also says they're working on their own line of cocktail mixers and de-alcoholized wines.
Well, another gloomy morning here to start here for us this morning. As you can see from City Cam 8, a little bit of some rain droplets there on the City Cam 8 tower cam lenses for us this morning. Get a check now on the current conditions in La Crosse. Looking pretty wet, 34 degrees currently, with a feel-like value of the same temperature there too. But in Eau Claire, we're looking at the same temperature here as well, 34 degrees, a feel-like value of roughly 28, and a visibility around 10 miles. So at least we have that to work with in our favor. Low pressure system here that has been responsible for bringing us the wet weather yesterday continues to affect our weather now. You can see the rain here on the south side, but mixing together with snow and then turning all snow here on the northwest side. That's because the temperatures have dropped to a more favorable level to see some of that snow, and you can see that spinning motion here of clouds, rain, and snow across the Great Lakes. We're on the northwest side of the system, so we're getting a little bit of some light rain, snow, still kind of mixing together there at times, as you can see from our local Doppler radar. But a lot of this is mainly focused across our eastern zones this morning, anywhere from about Jackson County south into Monroe, even extreme northern Vernon County, as well as in Adams and Juneau County too, looking at some of that light rain snow mix moving into your neighborhood this morning, with current temperature readings in the low 30s as you head out the door here as well. Now our forecast high temperatures today into those mid to upper 30s, maybe not quite as warm as yesterday in some spots, but a fairly mild day though, once again, to say the least. Now a lot of that rain snow will come to a close later this morning, and throughout the rest of the day I do expect mainly cloudy skies overhead with temperatures into the mid-30s. And you'll see that as well on Sky Tracker. After all that precipitation moves out, skies will continue to remain pretty cloudy throughout the day, and that will continue throughout the afternoon as well as into the evening and into tonight here too. Now we'll remain cloudy as we start the new day tomorrow, but I do want to turn your attention to what's happening towards our south and west. This is another low pressure system that we're watching. Now this one is expected to be pretty strong, and on the north side we could be getting some pretty heavy snow across the upper Midwest, which does include us here in the Coulee region. In fact, the system is already starting the system has already prompted winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, and winter storm warnings, as you can see from the central U.S. eastward up towards the upper Midwest, which does include us here in the Coulee region. In fact, all of the viewing area is now under a winter storm watch, and this is going to go into effect starting tomorrow evening and go into Thursday afternoon. In fact, we could see anywhere between 5 to 8 inches of snow. That is the early indications right now. So we're going to continue to watch this here for you, especially into the day tomorrow, to kind of get a better idea of how much that we're going to be expecting in terms of snow. But for now, we do have those alert days in effect for tomorrow night into Thursday. And then after that, cloudy skies with near normal temperatures. Stay tuned, though. We're back with much more news and weather. That's still to come here on News 8 Now this morning. But for now, we're sending you a break with a look at what happened on this day in history for January 17th. Stay with us. Well, we continue to watch the rain and snow come down across the Coulee region this morning, with our current temperatures into the low 30s as you head out the door. It's currently 34 degrees in La Crosse. Here's some of that rain snow that we talked about, still moving its way towards the east, but it looks like this is starting to dissipate here as it continues to track its way further towards the southeast. So that's the good news. So the rain snow potential will continue to decline as we progress throughout the day. Dog walking forecasts for you and your furry friend. Watch out for some of that rain snow here in some spots, mainly to the east, but Cloudy for the rest of the afternoon for everybody. That will continue into the evening hours here too. Stay with us though. We'll be back with a check on your commute forecast. That will be next in weather.
We've got so many great high school teams in the area this year, one of them being the Coulee Region Cyclones. The girls hockey team formerly known as Onalaska Co-op. They were state runners-up last year and got up to an 8-1 start this season. Now they've lost their last few games, but they were looking to bounce back last night. To the Panther Den in West Salem, the Cyclones taking on the Badger Lightning. First period, Cyclones offense threatening. Jaden Hammis passing it in, and Brooke Borkenhagen gets a stick on it and finds the net. A big goal for the freshman. Cyclones out in front. To the second period, and Hammis taking this one up the ice, skating past everyone and shooting it past the goalie. That adds to the lead as the Cyclones defend home ice 4-2 over the Lightning. All right, to the Bucks. They were taking on the Pacers. No Giannis in this one, however, but they did have AJ Green, and the Cedar Falls, Iowa native has some range, knocking down the 3-ball to cut the lead to 1. Let's go to the second half. Bucks down 11, but Drew Holiday would take over. Pull-up triple, that's good, now down by 8. Then right before the buzzer, Holiday making the defense look silly. Step back 3, that's good. Pfizer Forum on its feet. Fourth quarter, Grayson Allen wants to get involved, and he puts up a 3-ball. That's good. Bucks take the lead. Now 5.5 to go, and it's the Holiday show. Another step back 3. That gives the Bucks a 6-point lead, and they would never look back. So no Giannis, no problem. The Bucks win it 132-119, in large part a big performance by Drew Holiday. He had 35 points on 13 of 19 shooting, adding on 11 assists and 2 steals. A big-time performance out of him. The Bucks, they're back in action tonight. Now it's unsure what Giannis's status is. The 2-time MVP has missed 3 straight games with knee soreness, but I'm sure he's eager to get back on the court. That's all for the morning blitz, but be sure to tune in this evening to check out our play of the week. We'll be right back.
Italian authorities have arrested a mafia boss who has been on the run for decades. Matteo Denaro was taken into custody while being treated at a private clinic in Palermo. He is believed to be one of the bosses of Sicily's Cosa Nostra Mafia and has been a fugitive since 1993. Denaro was sentenced to life in prison for his role in the deaths of 2 prosecutors in 1992 and is considered responsible for dozens of mafia-related murders. Indonesia is working to establish a new capital as its current one, Jakarta, sinks at an alarming rate. The government of Indonesia has a plan to carve a new capital out of the dense jungles of eastern Borneo. The city is estimated to cost more than $30 billion and is designed to be a futuristic smart city. Government officials plan to call it the world's most sustainable city, but activists are worried about the damage building one in the forest of Borneo could do to native tribes and species. Back here in the U.S. and New Mexico, Albuquerque, police have arrested a former House candidate who ran for office just last year. Solomon Pena is now facing several charges involving recent shootings at the home of elected officials. Police say he paid 4 men to shoot at the homes of 4 elected officials. APD says Pena committed one of the shootings himself, but hired other people to pull the trigger on his behalf in the other shootings. An old Mayo Clinic building is being torn down. The former occupational health building is being demolished to make way for parking space. The building was built in the 50s and used as a clinic. Moving forward, Mayo plans to use the space for electrical vehicle charging stations, a rain garden, and a drift cycle stations. During the warmer months, it'll also be a place to park food trucks. In the meantime, Mayo is urging older community members to be proactive and avoid a sight-stealing disease. January is Glaucoma Awareness Month. Glaucoma is the second leading cause of blindness. It affects more than 3 million Americans, but most don't realize they have it because there are no early symptoms. Experts say you can lose 40% of your vision without even noticing, and while there is no cure for the disease, there are ways to catch it early.
The best way to diagnose glaucoma is with a comprehensive dilated eye exam. It's irreversible vision loss, so it's important to prevent it. Once it's gone, there is not much we can do to reverse that vision loss.
Dr. Aurora says glaucoma is more common among African American and Hispanic populations. Adults over the age of 60 and adults with diabetes are also high-risk groups. We have information about that posted on news8000.com. January is also Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. It's a disease that's treatable if picked up early with screening and preventable with the HPV vaccine. Michael George spoke with a cancer survivor about her advice for other women.
When Nora Lindo Salmon started feeling intense abdomen pain last year, she went to the doctor. The mother and grandmother learned she had advanced cervical cancer.
They said, I have cancer. And I said, I don't believe it's still cancer.
The Jamaica native had not been getting regular gynecological exams.
Unfortunately, though, many women, especially underserved women, have not seen physicians and they don't get regular screening.
Dr. Stella Limberis is a radiation oncologist at NYU Langone Perlmutter Cancer Center. She says cervical cancer is treatable if detected early. In Nora's case, she had 5 weeks of chemotherapy and internal radiation treatment called brachytherapy.
It's the safest way to deliver radiation so that we can reduce side effects.
A new American Cancer Society report estimates about 14,000 cases of invasive cervical cancer will be diagnosed this year, and more than 4,000 women will die from the disease. Death rates have dropped significantly with increased use of the Pap test, and the report shows a 65% reduction in cervical cancer rates in women in their early 20s. That's after the introduction of the HPV vaccine, which protects against the human papillomavirus, which causes cervical cancer.
Today, I am wonderful. I'm feeling wonderful.
Nora finished her treatment in June and is currently disease-free. She's now encouraging women to get their annual exams and screening.
I would tell them not to be afraid. Not to be afraid. Be strong. Make the first step.
A step that could be life-saving.
The American Cancer Society says higher HPV vaccination rates have the potential to virtually eliminate cervical cancer. Well, in Winona, the surgical team at Winona Health is working with a new innovative technology. They call it Da Vinci Robot. In just a week, it will begin to assist doctors with some surgical procedures. The robot has better vision and hand coordination than the average human and can perform less invasive surgeries on patients. But if you're not comfortable with a robot performing your surgery, the experts at Winona Health say when the Da Vinci is involved, patients tend to get back to work faster.
Not every single person is maybe a candidate for robot-assisted surgery, but those that are will be able to see the benefits that this new and innovative equipment is bringing here at Winona Health.
Experts say procedures performed by the Da Vinci robot lead to quicker healing and less reliance on pain medications. Well, the first 2 weeks of the year saw a surge in pet surrenders and strays at a Minneapolis Animal Care and Control. As a no-kill shelter, they're so overwhelmed, they're asking for your help. Marielle Moe shows us how stepping up to adopt isn't the only way you can make a difference.
With that increase, there was no way that we would be able to maintain our capacity for care.
In only 11 days, 139 animals were brought into Minneapolis Animal Care and Control. Caroline Harefield says their staff can only care for about 70 animals at a time.
The owner surrenders were up by like 67%, and then we had strays that were up by 50%, and it was just a huge increase.
Harefield says this is a problem they're seeing at shelters all over the country. She says it's mainly caused by a ripple effect from housing issues.
They were evicted, or they just lost their home, but they could not live with their pets anymore. The second largest group was medical issues, where the animal had some medical issues that they just couldn't afford.
Minneapolis Animal Care and Control has been waiving adoption fees since the pandemic, but it's reminding the community of this perk at a time when they desperately need help.
The community has stepped up. We've had, I think on Friday, there were 22 dogs that were adopted that went into their forever homes, and a few of our cats.
Adoption isn't the only way you can be part of the solution.
We always need volunteers, and we will train you while you're there. And there's all kinds of ways to partner with us. You don't just have to adopt.
There are several resources here in La Crosse that can help cut down the cost of owning a pet. For example, the Cooley Humane Society is partnered with Heart to Heart Pet Lifeline to help beloved pets in their homes and out of shelters by assisting with the cost of care. While pushing back against the UW system, students in Richland Center are fighting to keep their school open. Back in November of 2022, UW system president Jay Rothman announced the campus would close in-person classes due to declining enrollment and financial pressures. Right now, the campus is scheduled to stop holding classes in person on January 1st of this year. Talil Mohadeen joined UW Richland advocates for a listening session with state leaders on Monday.
The effort to save this campus started 2 months ago with an online petition. Now the voices behind the signatures in Richland County are getting state leaders involved. In a listening session with state legislators Howard Marklein and Tony Kurtz, dozens of people took turns addressing the pair, asking them to find a way to revive UW Richland's campus before it's too late. Marklein heard the community's concerns for over an hour, saying he understands where they're coming from, but says he doesn't believe, even as co-chair of the Joint Finance Committee, he has the power to change system's decision.
Some people here gave us way too much credit in terms of our ability to influence the decision. That was a decision made by system. Again, I was told of the decision. It wasn't a conversation that we had. He didn't ask for any input.
UW Systems officials cite steep declining enrollment and financial pressures as the main reasons for the push to close the branch campus. Advocates for its survival believe the system should consider other solutions, like hiring a dedicated recruitment officer and reinvesting in an international student population before shutting down the school entirely. Without intervention, this campus is set to close come July, forcing about 100 students and staff to be transferred to other area campuses.
Well, we are waking up to a bit of a wet start here this morning, as you can see from our tower cam lenses there on the bottom portion of your screen, looking at a few rain droplets there condensing here this morning, courtesy of some moisture producing some rain and a little bit of snow that continues to track its way towards the southeast. But this is mainly focused here across our eastern zones at this point. As you can see, eastern Jackson County, as well as eastern Monroe, as well as portions of Adam and Juneau County, looking at some light rain and snow here that are moving through your neighborhoods this morning, with current temperature readings into the low to mid 30s. It's 34 right now in La Crosse, 33 degrees currently in Sparta here for you currently as well. And your forecast for today does call for another mild day. High temperatures around 39 degrees, cloudy skies after that rain snow moves out, west-northwest winds at 10 to 15. For tonight, we drop down to 25. That's pretty seasonable for this time of the year, but it does look like it will continue to remain on the cloudy side. So watch out for some of these road conditions. We're looking at some partially covered roads here towards the north. That's from that rain and snow here that continues to come down. Now that's going to affect your morning commute here, as you can see. We do have yellow lights there. After that, green lights in the forecast for the lunch and commute hour, as cloudy skies will then take over and it will be much drier. Stay with us though. I'll be back with the full weather forecast in just a bit. Dua?
Thanks, Derek. Well, coming up in your Buzz Report, Baby Yoda returns for a third season in The Mandalorian. That and more coming up after the break.
Well, good morning, everyone. Sure is a pretty wet start outside this morning. In fact, we are seeing a little bit of rain here in La Crosse. 34 degrees was that last report. At least the visibility, though, is looking pretty clear. Now, meanwhile, to the north in Eau Claire, cloudy skies here for you. Temperatures at around 34 degrees and visibility also on the clear side here for us as well. So at least we have that to work with in our favor. Our weather, in the meantime, is still being influenced by this very strong low pressure system that continues to spawn a lot of cloud cover, rain, and snow. In fact, you can see that spinning motion here across the Great Lakes region. In fact, we're on the northwest, or on the west side actually, of this system, and that is still spawning some light rain and snow kind of mixing together here across portions of the area. In fact, we've been watching this batch of rain and snow mixing together here since overnight tonight, and now it's mainly concentrated across our eastern zones, but it does look like it is showing signs of it weakening as it continues to move towards the east, which is some great news there, especially for those of you getting ready for your morning commute, especially across the eastern zones. In the meantime, our current temperatures are in the low 30s, and our forecast highs today expected to be yet pretty mild here once again. Maybe not as mild as yesterday, but still pretty warm for this time of the year, into the mid to upper 30s. So let's take a look at your day planner. After that that rain, snow clears out. Skies are looking cloudy throughout the rest of the day. And again, we will be looking at temperatures pretty mild here once again for this afternoon. So we will be looking at that precipitation exiting the area as we head towards the late morning hours, and then just pretty cloudy throughout the rest of the morning and also into the afternoon hours. Same can be said as we head into tonight. Still very overcast across the Coulee region. In fact, the cloud cover is going to take us into early tomorrow morning. Those clouds are not going away. In fact, we're going to be watching this next low pressure system that is expected to develop to our southwest and move across the upper Midwest, and that is going to spawn a lot of snowy weather across the Coulee region as we head into tomorrow evening and also lasting into early Thursday. In fact, this system is expected to spawn a lot of wintry weather potential here across the central western United States as well and across our neighborhood here too. In fact, we are currently under winter storm watches, and the early indications are that we could be looking anywhere between 5 to 8 inches of snow possible. And keep in mind, locally higher totals are also possible here too. Now, this winter storm watch goes into effect tomorrow evening, and that will also continue into Thursday evening as well. So something that we'll have to be monitoring here for you over the coming days, especially into tomorrow. We'll break down more of that snow potential and total as we get a better idea what's to come here as the models get a little bit more closer to consensus. But you can see the 8-day forecast shows us that we have those precipitation chances in the future Wednesday night into Thursday. After that, we're going to be looking at mainly cloudy skies, much drier and much colder too, as high temperatures drop into the upper 20s to low 30s, which is a little bit more seasonable for this time of the year.
The Flash actor Ezra Miller has pleaded guilty to charges related to a 2022 trespassing arrest in Vermont. Miller was charged with trespassing after breaking into a home and stealing alcohol back in May. They will be serving a year of probation. Miller's probation includes not drinking alcohol and continuing with mental health treatment. Miller has portrayed the Flash superhero in several Justice League movies and is due out later this year. Well, Disney has dropped the official trailer for the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. This season takes place after the events of the spin-off series, The Book of Boba Fett. Pedro Pascal returns in the title role of The Mandalorian. For the new season, the reunited Mandalorian and Grogu, also known to fans as Baby Yoda, even though he's not Yoda, head off on a new adventure. Season 3 starts streaming on Disney Plus on March 1st. Well, we're heading to break with today's look about Look Who's 8.
Yeah, that's right, Dua. We got one birthday to celebrate today. This is to Bonnie, who is turning 88 today. Now, Bonnie loves oil painting and is a fan of local stock car racers. Happy birthday, Bonnie.
Happy birthday. Well, if you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88, we'd love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our...
Having a little technical difficulty, but anyway, look for their photo and submit it on our website at news8000.com. Stay with us. We'll have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your morning news now is up next. Your morning news now. Walgreens will no longer limit the online sales of children's fever medicine. Last month, Walgreens and other pharmacies restricted those purchases when demand stretched the supply thin. The CDC says cases of flu and RSV have peaked. Cases of COVID-19 are still on the rise. Walgreens has not limited in-person sales of pediatric fever medication. The Chinese New Year is China's most important festival, and a Wisconsin crop plays a major role in its celebration. We're talking the plant root ginseng. It's known to help boost energy and support a healthy immune system. It's a very popular gift in Asian cultures because it's considered the gift of good health. Wisconsin grows about 95% of the United States' entire ginseng crop, and most of it ends up across the globe. So if you're looking for some inspiration for Chinese New Year this Sunday, we have some recipes on news8000.com. Well, back in La Crosse, people packed the Viterbo University Fine Arts Center to honor Dr. King. Guest speaker Andre Johnson is an associate professor at the University of Memphis and a pastor at an inner-city church built upon servant leadership. Johnson says it's important to celebrate Dr. King's life and to honor his legacy by working as a community to solve the issues we still face today. Students, teachers, and community members in Onalaska are also celebrating Dr. King, using his holiday as an opportunity to learn. The school district hosted 2 guest speakers from the Milwaukee area to share a new perspective on Dr. King's life. The district's equity coordinator says learning about diversity is important today and every other day of the year.
The work in our district is never done, and although my title is equity coordinator, it's really everyone's job to ensure equity for all students.
Two are part of the Nurturing Diversity Partners group focused on truth-telling and discussed how to answer Dr. King's call. Well, it's time for your morning news now, and happening today, WKK, I guess we're getting Derek's opinion on this. Yeah. Derek, what is your opinion?
Wait, what are we talking about again?
I'm not too sure right now.
Welcome to Live TV.
Oh, all right. Happening today in La Crosse. Leading the WKKF is President and CEO June Montgomery. WKKF and Montgomery believe understanding racial healing will provide a path forward to achieve racial equality. The Day of Healing is an opportunity for all Americans to have conversations about racial healing. We'll have that information posted on our website. That's news8000.com. Gunderson Health System is keeping the history of migrants in America alive. Starting today, you can visit an exhibit called Outside Inside Immigration, Migration, and Healthcare in the United States in the La Crosse Hospital lobby. This exhibit will showcase the struggles migrants faced getting access to healthcare in the early 1900s and detail their triumphs in fighting for a system that met their needs. You can visit the exhibit until February 25th. Also happening at another local hospital, Coffee and Conversation. Mayo Clinic Health System is hosting a free forum to help get your family back on track. A registered dietitian will offer different ways to refresh your family's health habits and reshape perceptions that can lead to eating disorders. You can join virtually this evening from 6 to 7 p.m. Parents will be allowed to ask questions, and we'll have a link posted on news8000.com.
All right, and as you head out the door this morning, it looks like a lot of that rain and snow mix is coming to a close, but we will be looking at cloudy skies throughout the day, high of 39. Another mild day for tomorrow, too. But keep in mind, starting tomorrow night and also into early Thursday, we got those snow showers moving in, and in fact, a lot of it could come across our neighborhood, anywhere between that 5 to 8 inch mark, Dua. So get ready for that. And then after that, the rest of the week does look cloudy.
I had mentioned that Derek made it cloudy just because I joined the morning show.
Oh, so it's all my fault.
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
see how it is. Gotcha.
All right.
Got it.
Thank you for watching News 8 Now. We'll see you back here later today. This is your fault.
Don't you ever blame anything on me. Ever again.